Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. I want to say Shalom to Aknakbath out there doing this truth diligently. Match once again with another lesson. This one's a kind of a various topics, right? I got a couple things here that I've had saved in my phone. I just ported them over to the Google Drive. I'm not sure if we're going to get all of them today. We're just going to basically go through them, grab a subscription on them. There's definitely some interesting stuff here. Not any particular order. Some of these are old. Some of these are from today. I guess what we'll do, is start up, because yesterday I made a lesson called America Under Siege. And we were basically talking about, we can go there, the whole anonymous situation, or there could be something, could be nothing about this, event on Iran. And it's very interesting, being that I don't know if I showed it yesterday, but I definitely mentioned to my wife, Trump, over Iran. There's this new tweet he said. Well, actually, I already have it, because it's one of the things. But there's a new Trump thing, all right? And this is a post from teenagers, all right? Which is a Reddit, I guess, in which I've covered stuff on it before. Because again, everything goes into the melting pot that is r/popular. So anything that's popular, it just pops up. And this, being that had a lot of engagement, all right, came up today, and I looked at it, and it's from teenagers by this person, Coolcade MM. They're apparently 16 years old, and it says fuck, 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 right? Serious. And the post it was a news article that says Trump says we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. And what I thought was notable was the, comment that was made. It says, I'm not American, I'm Canadian, but I swear on my life that if Canada gets involved somehow, I'm fleeing to the UK or somewhere. I'm scared as fuck right now. God help us all before this turns into World War III. I fucking can't with the 21st century anymore. So these kids are fucking terrified, man. They're terrified. He even says it right here. He says, I'm scared as fuck right now. So all these people, the thought of everything collapsing is very terrifying to them, okay? And it's not really scary for us, because at the end of the day, we know we have Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, now, is it going to be comfortable? No. Is it going to be a little unnerving? Yes. It's not going to be pleasant, all right? I mean, the deliverance will be pleasant, but the time leading up to it will definitely not be. It'll be a worst time that's ever been, all right, that's ever been in the past, or is coming in the future. We can actually go and get that. Let's see. That's, of course, that's not how it's, thou now seest. Let's see. No, that's second Edges 5 and 2. Might have to use the ChatGPT for this one. The KJV scripture that talks about the end days being worse than anything in the past, present, or future. Oh, I guess past, present. All right. Yeah, that's it. Matthew 24 and 21. I should have known. It's in Matthew 24. So let's go and get it. It's Matthew 24 and 21. Let's start from verse 19. Okay, 24 and 19. And those that are unfamiliar with Matthew, the 24th chapter, if you go up to the first verse, we'll actually go up there. It's conversations between Yahweh Shai, all right, and his disciples. All right, we'll get 1 through 3, just showing you what went on, and then in the fourth verse, that's when Yahweh Shai starts answering and saying, give them basically prophecy, right? That'll happen. That they'll know when his coming is going to be. So this is verse 1. it says, and Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Now, this is a chapter, Matthew 24, a major prophetic chapter, because there's a lot. All right, you hear us talk about it a lot because there's a lot of prophecies packed in. It's very dense. All right, there's prophecies, of course, throughout the Bible. All right, not all in Matthew chapter 24, but a lot are packed in here. It's a very dense prophetical environment, Matthew 24, right? So in verse 3 it says, and he sat upon the mount, and as he sat, Salakia, let me start over, verse 3, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And of course, in verse 4, he starts to name things. Now, we're dealing with the 19th chapter, the 19th verse, all right, a little bit on down. And, you know, these are same things, same prophetical things that are going to happen. Yahushua was warning them about, and in turn warning us about, because this book was given to us, right? It's for the Israelites, by the Israelites, right? And ordained by Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So Matthew 24:19 says, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. And mind you, actually, if we go up, because I don't remember if we got it yesterday, but one of those major prophecies is right here in verse 6. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And we're seeing that. We're seeing more pestilences now. And we're not in Jacob's trouble. We're kind of in the preamble. Is that the word? Let me go and look at preamble. An introductory statement in a document. I guess it kind of works. It's more for a document. We're in the, what do they call it? Prologue? I guess a prologue. I guess we're kind of in the prologue. Of course, they're literary terms. We're in the prologue, preamble of Jacob's trouble. All right, we're like pre-Jacob's trouble. All right, we're tasting of some of the things. All right, we're like when the video game or a movie hasn't came out yet, but they release a trailer. All right, we're kind of getting a trailer right now. All right, we're seeing some of the stuff that's gonna be there. Right, we're getting a taste and a feel of some of the things. Right, hearing things, seeing a little bit of some things. You know, like with a movie, you know, you see who more likely the protagonist and antagonist is going to be, what the movie is going to be centered around, right? You might see one of the enemies if it's like a horror movie, or one of the monsters. You might get a brief flash. And you might see some of the stuff. That's kind of where we're at now. We're in the trailer, all right, of Jacob's trouble, where, you know, we're seeing a little bit of these things, right? We're definitely seeing and hearing of we shall hear of, like in verse 6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. All right, so we're definitely hearing of those things. But like it says in the end of that, it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But, that's the part I'm mentioning, but the end is not yet. So it's not there. We're getting there. We're not quite there yet. It doesn't mean it's not within our, you know, maybe within our grandchildren's lifespan. No, stop with it, man. I hear Jake talking about that all the time, man. Maybe within, no, not within our lives. Maybe our kids' life. Maybe not even your life, but maybe our great-grandchildren. No. It's going to be within our lives, man. Lord willing, we're alive and well, all right? And don't die suddenly of a tragic cause, or, you know, of, other things, you know, old age or whatever, how it happens to be. It's Babylon. You can go any type of way, right? Not always, death is not always that you're unrighteous. Just sometimes it happens. All right. Now, if you got your head chopped off, yeah, that was judgment. But death isn't always judgment. You know, you might had a health condition or something, and you died from that, and you can still be righteous, or the various other ways, right? So, you know, Lord willing, we're still alive and well and in good health. We ain't got too long left in this place. It ain't gonna be we're gonna see it within our lifetimes. All right, within the next probably 5 years. All right, I don't give it much more than that. And I'm not saying 100%, but we're saying it ain't looking like it's gonna be like that. All right, it doesn't seem at all like there's gonna be no. Hell, 5 years is even looking slim. Okay, it looks like within the next few years, man, because every year it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Every year it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and we're just about to boil, man. We're just about to boil. Okay, what I mean by that is, you know, when the pot gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and the boiling happens. And when we're just about to boil, what does that mean? That means Jacob's trouble is about to pop off. Boom. The boiling is ready. All right, heated and heated and heated, but now it's boiling. All right, and that's when everything goes down. So we're seeing those things. All right, and it's not going to be, in 100 years or 50 or 40 or 30 or 20 years. No, man, we're right there. We're at the door. Okay. And then in verse 7 it says, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places," all of which we're seeing, by the way. And verse 8 says, "All these are the beginning of sorrows." So this is the beginning, man. We're in the trailer. Okay. Now going to verse 19, all right, it's talking about, the end days coming. Verse 24 and 19 says, "And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days," nursing that, the pregnant, right? It says, "But pray ye that your flight not be," Salakia, "but pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day." Okay. In verse 21, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." Okay. And to emphasize it, verse 22, "And except those days be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened." A lot of people think we're going to be in Jacob's trouble for a long ass time. Even the apostles have mentioned we're not going to be in Jacob's trouble for all that long. All right. Probably not even a year. All right. Probably even shorter than that, because the fact of the matter is that, like I've heard the apostles of Great Millstone talk about, and I'm not a part of Great Millstone, but that's where I learned from. I recommend you do the same if you want to get the whole unadulterated, pure truth. Right. And, of course, and the brothers that are affiliated, and teaching the same thing. But when you first come in, just stick with GMS, because, you don't want to be tricked by someone that has the appearance that they're following GMS, but they're really not. So just stick with GMS in the name, all right? But, and I know mine doesn't have GMS in the name. So, if you want to move on and go watch the GMS video, hey, go right ahead. I'll even recommend channels for you to go watch. Yesterday I did. You can go over there and watch. I recommend Daily Edification. Well, right now I'll just show you, because at the end of the day, you don't know how trustworthy I am if you're just waking up, right? I'll give you to the guys that you. GMS is not in his name, but he is an apostle of Great Millstone. Daily Edification 4, go and watch him. GMS South Carolina 08, go and watch him. All right, he'll cut you if you're doing something wrong. Yeah, this guy, he'll call you out on it. All right. Remnant Save 144. All right. This is great for lives. Apostles Live GMS 34th. Go and watch that. What is the 666 mark? GMS Truth. This is Apostle Dahar. He's the lead apostle. All right, the head of GMS. And then there's another one. It's typed like this: GMS Info Doc, channel 12. All right, boom. Go and watch him. That's the Apostle Ramallah. If you want to know more about war, this is the brother Samak. All right, from GMS Miami camp, GMS Samak Ephraim. And then, you can keep on going on and on and on and on and on. There's a lot of different brothers, but yeah, man, go and subscribe to them and watch them. All right, and they, again, you don't know how trustworthy I am. At the end of the day, I ain't got GMS in my name, right? I'm not an apostle, so go if you want to go over there. Hey, more than free. All right, they'll probably get a better understanding too. All right, because they got it a little bit deeper. All right, they're apostles after all. Well, and then some elders, and then a brother, right? So Matthew 24 and 22, again, it says, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." And recently I was watching a lesson, I think it was Apostle Bar, and he was saying, once they get the mark of the beast out, it's like deliverance is very, very short from that, because they can't, the Edomites can't be allowed to have that type of power and implement that whole new world order. They're going to try, but the Lord has to come back very speedily, all right, at that time, because it's going to get bad. And like it says, "But for the elect's sake those days shall be shortened," because like it said at the top, it said, "Except those days be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved." That's how bad it's going to be. Everyone would die if the days weren't shortened. All right, so they're going to have to be shortened for the elect's sake, because even the elect would die if not. All right, so the days are shortened really for the elect's sake. Okay, so that's what you need to realize, man. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really, 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 really bad. All right, you'll see a bunch of stuff going on in 23 and 24. It talks about false Mashiachs. All right, saying, "Oh, I'm God." No, don't believe them. All right, there's gonna be a lot of crazy shit going on that is gonna be seemingly what people would say now impossible or you know, a lot of things that are unprecedented. There's wow, we never saw this coming. Of course you didn't. All right, because you didn't have your nose in the Bible. You had it, you know, up your boss's ass or up some girl's ass simping. All right, that's where you had it. You didn't have your nose in the Bible reading. All right, you're too busy doing other shit. Right. So here are some of these comments from these kids, or I guess they're not kids when they're 16, but you know, these young adults. It says, I've kind of just accepted I'm probably gonna die in World War III. 172 upvotes. It says sooner or later we're all will. I guess they were supposed to say we'll. Sooner or later we'll all get nuked or wiped out by some disease. The sooner you accept that, the less it bothers you. And if it doesn't happen by some miracle, then you can just take it as a win. Says exactly. Just live your life every day like you're already dead. All right, and that's why these kids are fucking wiling out. They shoot people. They don't care because they don't have nothing to live for, man. They don't have nothing to live for. They don't care. All right, they live like every day like they're gonna die anyway. All right, so they get into fights. They'll talk off, shoot at cops, run from cops. They don't care, man. These kids are crazy. Okay, because how bad society's gotten. All right, and also all that shit that they put in all the food and all the immunizations. All right, for lack of a better word. Well, I do have a better word, but I just don't want to say it. It says lying down and unmoving. Sure, sounds good. It says, and then, you know, they go on to talk about all these different things. I have one more. It says, and then this guy, this is going to age like milk. It says, for those dooming, no, this is not World War III. Iraq wasn't World War III. Ukraine wasn't World War III. This won't be World War III either. This is just another Middle Eastern war that people will pointlessly die in so billionaires can get a little richer. You're going to see, all right? You're going to say, yeah, but you got to realize you're saying wasn't. Ukraine war is still going on. This is still going on. The Iraq war is not real. I mean, it's there's still shit going on over there, but it's not full-fledged. I mean, and you got to think about all the other wars that are going on in the world right now. That's how World War starts. All right, we haven't had a situation like this in over 75 years. All right, we just made a lesson about that. All right, over 75 years. So you can't say it's nothing, right? There hasn't been a conflict like this in 75 years, and you're just a young kid, man. So you don't really understand it. You haven't been around long enough to see that. You know, how old you are, you don't have your age, but this person's 13, all right? USA will try to get involved for no reason. 13, you've only been around for 13 years on this planet, man. All right, 13 minutes. All right, that's it. All right, that's it. That's all you've been around for, okay? So, you don't know that this isn't a usual thing, all right? Going back over 20 years ago, this is not a usual thing, okay? You didn't see this type of shit 25 years ago. This is not a normal situation. All right, to have all these big, powerful entities warring at the same time. That's how world wars start, okay? I don't expect you to know because that's the other thing. The school system is terrible, man. These school systems are terrible, right? And you can even look it up. How, all right, in short, explain like I'm 10 how world wars start. Okay. Here's a simple explanation like you're 10. A world war starts when many countries get into a big fight, usually because one country attacks another, and their friends called allies join in to help. Type of shit going on right now with Iran and Palestine and Israel, right? People argue over land, power, resources, and things. Land, that's what's going on in Israel right now. And things get worse instead of being dissolved peacefully. Leaders don't get along and make threats instead of talking things out. Putin's threatening Trump. Trump's threatening Putin. He's threatening this. Israel's threatening these people. Old problems and anger build up, and one small event, like a big spark, makes everything explode into a war. There you go. That's how world wars start, dummy. All right? Do you not get that? So you don't really understand how wars start. All right? And hey, man, this is it's showing up to be a world war, right? And you don't believe it because, you know, you don't have the understanding, all right? And that's fine, all right? But it doesn't make it any less true. So, let's get Revelation 9 and 12, all right? Showing you that the Bible talks about 3 woes, okay? Now, I know right off the bat, if you're not, you know, into the scripture, all right, and you're not a follower of Yahweh Shemi Shai, you're going to write it off as nothing, all right? But the fact of the matter is that it's talking about 3 world wars, okay? This is Revelation 8 and 13. It says, and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. Now you say, oh, that's just talking about whoa, whoa, whoa. He just said whoa, 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 like woe's gonna come, right? Well, then you got to get over in verse Revelation 9 and 12. All right, and if you read down past or verse up, all right, or verses a couple up, all right, this is really a prophetic past prophecy about World War One. All right, Revelation 9 and 12 says, one woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So one woe is past. Now, if you look into that one woe that is past in verse 9, we can go and get, just starting right here in verse 9, it says, they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron, and the sounds of their wings was as the sound of chariots and many horses running to battle. So they had iron breastplates, and their wings sounded like chariots and many horses running to battle. Now, this is talking about World War One fighter planes. All right, that's what it's really talking about, and we're gonna show you one. All right, right off the bat, I'm gonna try to get one that shows the a period accurate one right here, right? Or any of these. All right, a lot of them. Not all of them had it. But some of them did. So they changed throughout history. But a lot of them had a tail gunning slot. All right, something like this. Okay, you can see a tail gunner, usually like that. All right. So sometimes it was a little further back. All right, but vice versa. All right, doesn't really matter. Yeah, like this, tail gunner. Now we go back to the scripture, and it says, and they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron. All right, they are iron. Okay, and you got to realize, when these revelations were had, they didn't have a plane, so they had to, give the best description as to what they could. It says, and the sound of their wings, right, were as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. Right, that sound if you hear them, you literally go and listen to them. Right? So, you gotta hear that sound. How would you describe it back then? How would you describe it? The best way is like, oh, many chariots and horses running into battle is what it sounds like, right? So, and they have like iron all over, right? And their wings, right? They have their wings. And of course, back then you would think that the wings, all right, would be the ones making the sound. And, you don't know about an engine and the propeller on the front and all that stuff, right? And then how would you describe the gun? And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails. There were stings. They were hurting people with the tails, all right? And their power was to hurt men 5 months. So there you go. And then go back to verse 12, skipping down. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. And then you got to say, well, what about World War II then, huh? There's two. Does it mention that? It does. All right? You can get Revelation 11 and 14, and it says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So yeah, man. And you say quickly, it's been since 1940. Well, you got to realize the Lord's time is different. All right, hours are minutes. All right, our hours are minutes. Our years are but minutes to the Lord. Okay, so think of that. And so yeah, man, and in World War III, all right, World War One was a boots on ground conflict. World War II was a boots on ground conflict, of course, with airplanes as well. All right, with planes, they had a little bit of dog fighting going on. But World War III, while there will be a little bit of boots on ground conflict, it's primarily going to be a nuclear war, the first one ever. All right, the first ever nuclear war. There's been nukes dropped, but this is the first going to be the trading, the trading of nukes. All right. And I don't mean trading as in giving each other them for to have. I mean, trade. You're trading combat. All right. So yeah, man. So that's that. That's how these kids are thinking of it. Little. I want to get that one first because we kind of talked about it yesterday. So a little bit interesting. Now, some of these other ones are just going to be, a little shorter ones and some other things like that. Um, this one was quite interesting to me. Um, which one do I want to get? I want to get this. Well, really, I want to touch on this because this is, I can get this and then close out. This talks about Esau's lies. All right, this talks about Esau's lies and how they're a lying tongue is but. Look at this. Um, right here, going back. So this guy, Charlie Kirk. All right. It says the title was not even 200 days into his presidency, and it's already aged this poorly. It's from Aged Like Milk, the Reddit. It says Barack Obama. We do not need 4 more years of chaos. I agree. Let's get Trump back so we can have peace in Ukraine, Israel, and the Middle East again. How did that go? How did that go? This is not a revelation. This is 2nd Esdras 5:2. It says, but in nope. What in the world happened here? Did I get rid of it? Here it is. Fuck it. Proverbs 12:19. The lip of truth shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Egg prices are gonna go down. Our economy is gonna boom. We're gonna make America great again. Lies. Can't make this place great again. It's destroyed. All right, not fully, but it's destroyed. Spiritually. All right, it's done. All right, this place is gone. All right, it hasn't been destroyed physically, but this place is, man, it's on its way out. All right, it's circling the drain. All right, the place is circling the drain. It's just a matter of time before it goes down the hole, but it's circling the drain. All right. So I wanted to get let's see. I just wanted to show this one. I don't really have too much to say about it, but this lady, 23 years old, says, I'm a single mom, soon to be divorced wife. I have a 1-year-old daughter, and I'm currently pregnant. Where's the men who love pregnant women? Not around here. All right, we can get rid of that. Now, let's see. What else do I want to get? We'll probably get debating which ones I want to get. I know I want to get this for sure. All these, but I'm debating if I want to get this. With, this chair. I will. Let me go see. So this guy, Drew Hernandez. He's an internet personality. All right. This is him. All right. Drew Hernandez. And this guy's an Edomite. Okay. This guy's an Edomite. Mexican American. No, that's a different guy. Drew Hernandez. That's not him. I'm talking about Drew Hernandez. What's his Drew H Live. Let's see. That's this guy here. All right. Let me see him. But this guy's an Edomite. Okay, I can't really pull anything up too much from him without being logged in. But he's an Edomite. Okay. Let's see if we can find his parent. Is it the same guy? Jokes by Drew? Let me see. Doesn't look to be the same guy. Sure, there's a lot of Drew Hernandezes out there, but I can't find too much about the guy. This is the guy we're talking about, though, right? This guy, he's an Edomite, okay? And how do we know? Because he's a terror, all right? This guy's a terror. He had this comment, all right? It says, all you Mexicans that hate this country, go back to Mexico or face the full force of the United States military. This land is not yours. I'm sick of these damn people. I voted for President Trump to crush them all. All right? You don't like Mexicans, all right? And you're not one of them. All right? You're not. And that's the thing. You have a lot of these Jake right now that are saying, "Oh, well, these Mexicans, these fucking Mexicans, they voted for Trump. They're not with it." You got to realize a lot of those guys are terrorists. A lot of these Mexicans you see are just terrorists, man. I'm not saying that all the Mexicans are terrorists. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying a lot are. You got to realize their land was completely colonized by the Spanish. Okay? Spain. Okay? Just like there's a lot of black folk you see on the East Coast, a lot of terrors over there. Okay? Now, of course, there's more actual Jake, more actual regular looking Jake and regular looking Edomites, but on around Mexico and around the East Coast, on the East Coast, you're gonna see a lot of black people that ain't really even Jake. You're gonna see a lot of over there in California and on down to Mexico. You're gonna see a lot of so-called Mexicans that aren't even Ishkarites. All right, they're just terrors. All right, so you got to realize the white man was popping these women. They made little brown-looking babies, and they're Edomites. All right, you come down to the seed line of your father. Okay, so that's and saying something it shows you how unlearned he is when he says this land is not yours. And then you look into the fact, well, who's the land then? All right, the Native Americans that were brutally conquered and colonized and stole, raped, robbed, and murdered from, or is it what about the Mexicans, the originals, all right, that were in this land, all right, that Nevada and Arizona and California and Texas and Utah were all stripped from? And you say, well, no, America bought it. Yeah, only after that's like if I went to your house, put a gun to your goddamn head, and said, I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out. I'm gonna blow your fucking family brains out right in front of you. You're not gonna do shit unless you give me this house for $10. You're gonna give me that house for $10 at the end of the day, right? Because you don't have much of a choice when I got guns at your door, right? And that's what you guys did to the so-called Mexican, right? You went down there, you wanted that land, and you warred with them until they had no choice but to sell it for a low price of like $15 million, right? And they had no choice. It was either that or be completely conquered, all right, and maybe face all of their land being stolen, right? And that's how we know who you are as Edomites, man. Because the scriptures say, this is Micah 2:2. It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. You took them by violence, all right? Sure. Well, they gave us money. Sure, they gave you money after a while, all right? Just to get you out of their back door, all right? If I'm over there with a gun in your backyard, and I say, give me money and I'll leave. Give me money, or no, you're saying, give me the land and I'll leave. I'll give you a little bit of money, I'll give you a little bit of money. Just give me it and leave. Give me it and leave. No, I want to stay here. I don't care if you want to stay here. I'm sitting right here with this gun and this $10 bill until you want to leave. Eventually, you're going to say, fuck it. Okay, fine. Here. I don't have a choice, right? Or you're going to kill me. It's either I either get killed and you take my land, or I live and you take my land. It'd be much better to live and have my land taken than killed and take my land, right? And that's what you do. You go up and set these little fucking shits up right at their borders, all right, wherever they are, whatever the land you want. You keep on warring with them and say, we can stop. We'll stop. Just give us the land. We'll stop. Just give us the land. That makes you the bad guy. You're the bad guy, all right? That's like me stabbing you in the stomach. Say, oh, hey, I'll stop. I'll stop if you just give me everything you have. I'll stop. You would say, oh, that guy's fucking evil. All right, that guy's evil. He's stabbing him in the gut and saying, give me everything you have, and then he'll stop stabbing him. All right? But you're the guy saying, oh, the guy stabbing him isn't bad. What? Because he came over here with a knife and he had more power than the guy being stabbed? That's what you guys are really saying. You don't think about it. All right? Because you're fucking retards, man. You're a bunch of racist-ass, cracker fucking honky Edomites, white devils, all right, blue-eyed devils, all right, that steal everything. You can't do shit for yourself. You can't make anything for yourself. You're useless. You're pathetic. All right? You're less worth than a worm. All right? And that's how you have to get everything, because you're a piece of shit. All right? You're a fucking failure. All right, a piece of shit, failure faggot that can't do shit for himself, can't do shit, can't season his food, can't sing, can't dance, can't invent worth of goddamn shit, can't even wipe his goddamn ass, and you're over here, we did everything. No, you fucking didn't. All right, you can't even stand out in the sun without burning. You're a failure all around, man. You can't do shit right. You expect me to think that you did everything. No, man. You're the devil. You're the Edomite that the Bible speaks of. All right? And you don't like us knowing that we're the Israelites, because when we find out we're the Israelites, we find out that you're the Edomites. All right? And when we find out you're Edomites, well, that's how we know you're a piece of shit, because Esau's a piece of shit ass faggot, all right, that goes around stealing, lying, and crying when he doesn't get his way. Oh my God, I'm the victim. Shut the fuck up. Stop being such a bitch, man. If you're gonna be a warlord, be a warlord. Stop being such a little faggoty ass, Nancy ass bitch, man. That's what you are, you little Edomites. All right, can't do nothing right. All right, and then you cry about it when you don't get your way. All right, you're like giving a toddler a gun. That's what you are. You're a big ass, bald ass, little white toddler with a gun. All right. That's what you are. All right, and you kill when you don't get your way. All right, you cry, throw a fit, and then you kill people. Stupid, man. We're supposed to have any respect for you? No, fuck you, man. All right, fuck you and your mama. All right? I don't give a shit about you, man. All right, and you say we're evil, we're the bad ones. Why? Because, what, some of the issues that some of our people do, all right, when you set up that culture, you put guns into the hood, you put welfare up, you started Section 8, you started removing the black man from the household, you started doing all this shit, and then we're bad, even though that's the way you trained us to be. All right, if you train a dog to fight other dogs, you can't get mad when that dog fights dogs. You made him that way. All right? You made him that way. All right? So when you set Jacob in these ghettos and put him against their own brother, you can't get mad at that's happening. You wanted that to happen. All right? You try to treat it as a spectacle. Fucking retards, man. Retards. Fucking stupid. All right, and then you lie about everything because you can't do anything. So let's get the scripture about tares. All right. This is Matthew 12 and 38. We'll actually get up from verse 24. And it says, another parable put Matthew 13 and 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth good seed in his field. Now you have two different types. Well, I'll continue. Verse 25. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. Now, if you want, you can look it up. I've showed it time and time again. A tare looks very similar to wheat. All right? I'll look it up. All right? They look very similar. Okay? To the untrained eye, they're indistinguishable. Right? But a tare can't be used for shit. Okay? It can't be used for anything. Now, this is what happens. What enemy do is an enemy, an Edomite, will come, sleep with a black woman. Now they have a little chocolate baby. All right? That's an Edomite. All right? And it'll grow up around Jake. All right? It might act a little bit like Jake, but something's just fucking weird about it. It doesn't act quite right. Something's not wrong. Something's a little wrong with Jeremy down the street. He don't really act black. He's different. He's strange, man. He kind of acts like a white guy. Well, and he talks weird. Hey, guys, how's it going? Right? Now, sometimes you'll have a black dude that's just a nerd, but sometimes, all right, that guy, the reason he rubs you the wrong way, I don't really like that guy. That guy's weird. It's because he's not you, okay? But Jake doesn't understand that because nobody understands the Bible, okay? People don't realize why things are. They don't understand, like, something about me, I just don't like this guy. I just don't like him. It's because he's an Edomite, right? But you can't get that through your head because you don't know the scripture. You're like, well, this guy's Mexican, looks Mexican, sounds Mexican, talks Spanish. Well, but I don't like him. Something's wrong with him. I don't know what it is. It's because he's a tare, okay? He's not really an Issacharite. He's an Edomite, okay? He's your enemy, not your brother. Enemy, not a brother, okay? And that's what happens. The same thing with Spanish. Spanish are Europeans, all right? If you look at them, they're fucking white, all right? And they came over, colonized, conquered the original Aztec people who are the Issacharites, all right? And the indigenous people of the land, all right? Indigenous is using it loosely because we all come from Israel. But, you know, and you do all that, and then, you know, you end up popping all these women, all right? And that's one of the things Spain was known for, was raping, all right, women. And then they did it with the Irish as well. And, you know, you have all that happened. And then, you know, and that's what they say the Black Irish is. They say the Black Irish comes from the Spanish that raped the women. No, the Black Irish is they're Black Irish, okay? Black Irish, all right? It's in the name. They try to cover it up a little bit. No. Black Irish. There was a point in time in my life that I thought, you know, that's what that was, all right? But no. So, but yeah, man. Anyway, that's what happened, all right? Because we got to get a scripture, a precept. This is Numbers 1 and 18. It says, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers. Not their mothers, but what? By the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. So you can see, all right, that there you go. All right. So, and you can go up and see in verse 16, it says, "These were the renowned of the congregation, princes of the tribes of their fathers, heads of thousands in Israel. And Moses and Aaron took these men, which were expressed by their names, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls." You can go and look at pedigree. If I look at pedigree, you're going to see descent, ancestry, lineage, especially upper class ancestry, all right? And you're going to see what's going to be down here? Breed, blood, race. Their race. You are what your father is. Your race is what your father is. If you have an Asian mother and a black father, you are black, okay? If you have an Asian father and a black mother, you are Asian. You are what your father is, not what your mother is. You might have her characteristics. If she was black, you might have fuller lips, a fuller nose, all right? You might have a thicker, curly, coily hair type, all right? But at the end of the day, you're still an Asian, all right? You still go back to Moab or Ammon, depending on if the person was a Japanese or a Chinese person, all right? So, doesn't matter what your mom is, all right? She's there for a reason. You inherit some of her DNA. She's there for nourishment, all right? Of course, your birth, all right? Women have a use. They have a purpose, all right? But it's not defining who you are racially, all right? That's the father's job. So if your great grandfather was black, but your dad now looks white, that don't mean a damn fickety fucking thing, because your great grandfather was black. All right, and his great grandfather went back to the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So guess what? Regardless if you have a white ass looking father or an Asian looking father, your great, and you don't know. You can't always trace the lineage back that long. You can tell. Do you understand the scripture? Can you understand that the Lord and his son are so-called black men? All right. Can you understand that this is only for the Israelites? Can you understand that the father's name is Yahweh and the son's name is Yahweh Shai? Can you teach this? All right. Do you understand the scripture? Do you understand what's being said? Do you get mad when you find out that only Israel is going to be the one that's saved? All right. Or do you not? All right. Because if you do all those things and you don't get mad about those things, more than likely an Israelite. All right? Especially if you can call upon the name Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in prayer and sincerity, because the heathens cannot do that. All right? It's dreadful to the heathen. All right? The name of the Lord is dreadful to the amongst the heathen. Malachi 1:4, it says, "But cursed be the deceiver, which hath in his flock a male, and voweth and sacrifice unto the Lord a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, saith the Lord of hosts, and my name is dreadful among the heathen." So you're not going to be calling upon the name Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai if you're a heathen, because it's dreadful to you. All right? You don't like it. You just want to get away from it. So continuing on. Oh, I closed out of it. You gotta go back. It says, "But while men slept," Matthew 13:25, back into it, "But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst thou not sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? Why does it have tares if you used good seed? Did you use bad seed? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up?" You want us to go and get rid of them? In verse 29, it says, he said, "Nay, lest while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn." So the day is coming. These people are going to be destroyed, all right? And the Lord's going to save his people. It doesn't matter what you look like, all right? Another scripture. 1 Samuel, we'll get it right here. 1 Samuel 16:7, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart." And that's why these people see these black individuals, these Mexican-looking individuals, and say, something's just not quite right with them. I don't know what it is, but really, they're not looking at on the inside. They're not thinking like how the Lord would think. They're not thinking, okay, this person could be an Edomite. This person could be something else. All right. Me and my wife do it all the time. We'll be out somewhere and there'll be some Jake. Hello. How are you doing? I'm like, the fuck? And they'll like give us some nasty look or some weird look. And they'll be weird. They'll just like, it's like if you closed your eyes, you would know that you were dealing with a white person right now. All right. You would know if you just closed your eyes, if you were blind, all right, physically in your eyes, all right, not spiritually. If you were blind in your eyes, you would think this person's a white person. But your eyes are deceiving you because you see their outward appearance, okay? And that's the thing. You see this person, they act weird. They I don't like any of that shit. These black people are ruining everything. You know, they're thugs and you know they're really just they're awful, and really, you know, it's, you know, white people, they've made accomplishments, you know, and us black people, we haven't done anything. That's an Edomite. That's an Edomite. It's a chocolate covered Edomite. That's all it is. All right, or it's a coon. All right, you have those two, and but it's easy. I won't say it's easy. It can be done. You can distinguish a coon from an Uncle Tom from a tear. All right. You just have to, you know, wade through the water a little bit, but it can be done. There's some people I've seen that act like that and say, okay, this person's a coon. They're a sellout. They're Uncle Tom, but I think they are a Jake. All right, think they are a Jake. Then there's other people that is not a Jake. That's 100% a tear. You can see that the way they move, the way they act. There's something weird. Like Candace Owens. I don't think that's a coon. All right, I think that's an Edomite. I think that is an 100% Edomite right there. All right, and a chocolate little body. All right, she's pretty. Don't get me wrong. All right, but looks like a black one, but she's an Edomite. All right, either that or she's a super coon. One of them, but I'm pretty sure that lady's an Edomite. All right, she got a white husband, and she talks about white lives matter, and always talking shit about black people. Doesn't talk about black issues ever. It's always white, and the black people, that's you black people, that's you black. You're an Edomite. All right, you're an Edomite, and it goes vice versa as well. Not every white person you see is an Edomite. All right, for example, I myself. All right, people like Eminem. All right, you got to realize that Jake is the salt of the earth. In any situation where you see someone is selling and they look white, can't be. Okay, they're the best rapper. They can't be, because Jacob is the salt of the earth. All right, and you can tell by the way that Eminem acts. All right, and the way that black people treat him. He says Eminem's the only who was it? Mike Tyson. Eminem's the only black person that knows what it's like to be a ninja. Right? I incorrectly said something correct. He said Eminem is the only white person that knows what it's like to be a ninja. Right? So keep that in mind. All right, when you start getting passes and they're good with Jake and all that stuff, that's because they recognize you as one of their own, man. Okay? That's because you're recognized as one of their own. All right? Continuing on. This guy's a terror. All right? He's an Edomite. Okay? And I think we're actually going to leave off on that because we're approaching 40 minutes or over. Yeah, about 50 minutes. I got some other stuff in here for a topic for another day. All right? Some stuff, you know, about the Cheetos guy. That's a whole new thing. If you want to look it up, you can look it up. Now there's a whole, you know, he had a lawsuit going in which he lost because everybody knows that guy, Richard Montana, he made the hot Cheetos. All right, they made a movie about it, but now they're saying he didn't. But maybe I'll do a lesson about it tomorrow. We'll just have to see. So, with that, all right, we're going to go ahead and close out. Lord, when it was edifying, once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai, Shem HaKakbadash. I want to say shalom to you brothers and sisters out there. Keep enduring, keep the faith. All right, keep pursuing this truth to Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shai. We're almost out of here. Until next one, Lord willing, shalom.